Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all of y'all from wherever you are around the world. Welcome again to another episode of Football is a Religion. My name is Bube Simpati Mhlaba. If you're new to this community, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And, let's grow the community together. With regards to the FA Cup third round results, right? Let's start at the Etihad with defending champions Manchester City taking on Hudersfield, right? So it was a pretty straightforward game. We're just going to be quick and short on that one because it was pretty straightforward, pretty dominant from Manchester City as expected. Man City, opened the scoring in the 33rd minute of the game as Phil Foden scored his 70th goal for Manchester City. Right, Manchester City actually, if you look at how Manchester City actually lined up for this clash, against Hudersfield at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City actually made 5 changes from the team that beat Sheffield United 2-0 as Ederson, as well as Kyle Walker, Nathan Ake, Rodrigo, as well as Bernardo Silva made way for Stefan Ortega, Moreno, as well as Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, Ruben Diaz, as well as Sergio Gomez. These are obviously players that are not regular starters in that Manchester City lineup, so they were all given a chance, a chance of getting some game time in a cup time. And obviously City, they did maintain their unbeaten run against Huddersfield in the FA Cup, as City have now won their last 12 FA Cup home matches, scoring 52 and only conceding just 4. Their last home defeat in the competition was against Championship side Middlesbrough, who are in action in the Carabao against Chelsea in the Carabao semi-finals, and they actually have an upper hand over the Londoners, surprisingly. So last time Manchester City lost, at home in the FA Cup was against Middlesbrough in 2015, which was just January 2015. And then we saw in the 37th minute, just 4 minutes after Phil Foden put them ahead, Alvarez doubled the lead, steering in from close range after a great build-up play involving Matheus Nunes, Rico Lewis, as well as Phil Foden. And obviously the game was put beyond any reasonable doubt in the 57th minute of the game, as KDB made his return to action after a lengthy spell on the sidelines. And 1 minute after his introduction, Manchester City scored again as Ben Johnson deflected the ball into his own net. 7 minutes later, Foden drilled in his second of the game from outside the box, arrowing the ball into the bottom corner, taking his goal tally to 11 across all competitions this season. So Phil Foden has currently scored 11 goals in all competitions this season. And as for Kevin De Bruyne, wow, what a return, marking an assist, setting up his fellow countryman Jeremy Doku coming off the bench to actually seal a 5-0 victory for Manchester City. Jeremy Doku scoring first time volley. What a great volley that was, first time. Great assist from KDB, the combination of the two Belgians, you understand, sealing an emphatic 5-0 victory over Huddersfield Town, seeing Manchester City through into the next round of the FA Cup. Right, and then in the other FA Cup, the big one, the pick of all the clashes. So Arsenal take on Liverpool at the Emirates, right? Remember, these teams did meet in the Premier League not so long ago at Anfield, right? That game was it was just a draw, a 1-1 draw between Liverpool as well as Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal wanted to win this game, right? With the fact that obviously they are the record holders of the FA Cup. They've won the FA Cup 14 times, right? Last time they actually lifted the oldest trophy was in 2020 after a 2-1 victory over Chelsea with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scoring a brace in that encounter. So, Arsenal unfortunately lost this game by 2-0. Thanks to an own goal by Jacob Kiowa, as well as Luis Diaz netting late in the game. So it was basically 2 late goals, right? What I can just say is that unfortunately Arsenal were wasteful in front of goal. Very wasteful. Kai Havertz had a couple of chances. He missed them, as well as Bukayo Saka also had a chance he missed. Gabriel Martinelli also had a couple of chances missed. Martin Odegaard. Arsenal were just wasteful in front of goal. They could have won this game in 45 minutes in the first half. They could have won this game and wrapped it up. But unfortunately, hey, In football, if you don't take your opportunities, if you don't make them count, unfortunately, you will be punished. And that's exactly what happened to the Gunners. They were just wasteful in front of goal. And again, it's just a repeat of what we saw not so long ago against Fulham, at the Craven Cottage. Even though that was like the worst performance of the season. But, Arsenal have just not been clinical enough in front of goal. And it was proven in this encounter against Liverpool. And deservedly so, they lost the game. They were punished. Great goal by Luis Diaz in the last minute of the game, to actually seal victory for Liverpool and see them through into the next round. As for Chelsea, obviously they cruised comfortably, right? Although it was not easy. It was just not easy against Preston North End at Stamford Bridge. They were made to work, but eventually after they did open the scoring, early on in the second half, just like almost 13 minutes into the second half through Armando Broja, opening the scoring in the 58th minute of the game. Thiago Silva doubling their lead in the 66th minute of the game. Raheem Sterling getting his name onto the score sheet 3 minutes later, as well as Enzo Fernandez scoring on his return from injury. You understand, to give the Blues an emphatic 4-0 victory comfortably, obviously as expected, 4-0 victory over Preston North End, right? Then as we go, again, Manchester United traveling to Wigan Athletic, the 2012 champions. Wigan Athletic, taking on Manchester United at the DW Stadium. Manchester United winning the game by 2-0 thanks to goals by Diego Dallo, as well as a Bruno Fernandes penalty. Just about 16 minutes from time, sealed a comfortable victory for Manchester United, right? So, on the side of Manchester United, it was like their first away win in any competition, since the end of November at Everton, ending a run of 5 games on the road without victory. As for Wigan Athletic, Wigan Athletic's top scorer Stephen Humphreys, currently, remember, he missed the 1-1 draw at Barnsley, started in as one of 2 changes replacing Josh McGuinness, while Telo Asgard came in for Callum Loom, right? And then Manchester United made 2 changes to the side, beaten at Nottingham Forest, as Scott McTominay as well as Rasmund Højlund replaced Anthony as well as Christensen, who were just missing through illness. But it was a great victory for Manchester United, pretty much comfortable, pretty straightforward, but they were made to also work. They were just not convincing, but look, victory is all that matters for the Red Devils as they, surge on, in their quest for clinching some silverware this season. And then in the other games, we saw Tottenham, leaving it late, to secure a 1-0 victory over Burnley at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Currently coming into that encounter, Spurs made 2 changes from the team that won 3-1 against Bournemouth on New Year's Eve to leave them 5th in the Premier League. Both were forced changes, as Son as well as Pope Mortar saw on international duty for South Korea at the Asian Cup as well as Senegal at the African Cup of Nations respectively. Spurs will be without the pay and Mali midfielder Yves Bissouma for up to 6 matches, with the trio possibly being away with their countries until mid-February. As well as Son, who's currently the top goal scorer this season with 12 goals, right? He was currently missed. He was missed, in that game, as, Spurs did spurn a host of opportunities, but eventually they did get their goal through Pedro Porro. What an emphatic strike that was. A great long-range effort from Pedro Porro, scoring his first goal for Tottenham, and what a way to actually score a winning goal in the FA Cup against Burnley, and I'm sure that will actually boost his confidence more often, right?